Starting off today with a hot 7-Eleven breakfast. Now to the problem of the day. This motherfucking corner piece. It was pretty easy to make the edge here, but this corner piece, it's something else. Like I said before, I'm no sheet metal guy, and all of this will be hidden by the taillight itself, but I'm going to try my best to replicate it. Taking a piece of this manila folder, I'll attempt to make an impression of this corner. And just like that. And with that piece of manila folder, I then will try to copy and mirror the dimensions on a piece of metal. Air shears. Great for cutting sheet metal. Now that I got some guidelines, it's time to pound them out. The trick to metal shaping is, 1, don't listen to a guy that doesn't know anything about metal shaping. And 2, light taps of the hammer versus heavy swings. I also try and evenly form each crease instead of doing one crease at a time. I think it's actually working. Getting better. Wow, I might actually pull this off. Now these two little bite marks here, I'm gonna have to build up this edge. The metal is really thin due to the rust, so I'm gonna weld a piece of sheet metal behind it to give it some thickness when I build it up. This is what I meant about building it up. Going back to see how much metal I need to cut off. Okay, now that I cut down my little custom piece to size, I'm gonna put it over the place I need it to go, trace it, and cut it out. Yep, that'll do. And now looking at it, I could have just made all of this into one piece. Oh well. After looking at the piece for a while, I decided to throw on the taillight to see how much it covered up. And boy was I wrong about it covering up everything. You could see the edge, and that was the one thing that concerned me the most, was the edge. I needed to get that as perfect as possible, or at least not looking like shit. It's pretty frustrating putting effort into all that to come and find out everything that you just did is useless, and it was just a waste of time and now garbage. That's alright, I guess. Back to the drawing board. Now let's cut out a hole for it and put it in place. I'm going to trim the edges on both parts to get the surface to match perfectly, or close to perfect. going to be a little difficult having 3 points to match to. I'm talking about this edge, the surface, and this edge right here. It's slightly off, but that's okay. I can build up this lip to match this lip. Now let's burn it all in. Thankfully, Vic bought this new tool and lent it to me to test it out. Unlike the grinder that I've been using, which isn't actually a grinder, it is a cutoff wheel. Yeah, this thing, it's a real grinder. I should definitely get one of these. Now that the big welds are ground down, I'm going to finish it off with my 1/4 inch angle die grinder. Putting the taillights on to see the fitment and just to see which parts will be hidden. I need to shape this edge some more, but you know, other than that, it looks pretty damn good. Nice. This will need more grinding though. Another tip from someone who uses a cutoff tool to grind welds: shining a flashlight behind the sheet metal will reveal the little pukas that you might have not seen. Here I am marking each one with a Sharpie so I can plug them up later with the welder. Now that everything is solid, I'm going to use the original piece I cut from the blue car to trace what I need to cut from the white car. Notice how I'm cutting slightly outside of the markings. This way I'll have some leeway if any of the measurements are off. You gotta remember, it's easier to take away than it is to put back. Okay, so this time I now have 6 points I need to match. This crease, this lip, this edge, the overall surface, and this corner, which I'm not too concerned with because it's going to be hidden. Inner panel was messing with the overall seating of the patch panel, so I had to pound that back. I'm looking at each corner and trimming them bit by bit until they are close to matching. Now laying down the first couple of tacks. These gloves I always wear, yeah, they're not meant for welding. A little slag jumped and melted its way onto my finger. It was tiny, but the goddamn thing bounced around in there. Please guys, just wear proper safety gear. Don't be like me. It's crucial at this point to look and adjust the panel if need be while there is little welds. This side needs some trimming. I'm going to use the Dremel to shave off just a little. Needs a little bit more on this corner. Okay, more on the sides. Oh, come on. See? A little bit at a time. Money. I was able to trick Joe into doing the rest of the tack welds for me. No, I'm just kidding. He loves to do this kind of shit. And besides, he has a lot more precision than I do. Here I am whining about a little slag on my finger. Eventually, he had to go back to work and I was left with the fun part. Seam welding the whole panel shut. I mean, what could go wrong? Oh, not much. Just this, this little hole I made. Checking the alignment. Alignment. That I need to grind to shape. And marking the pukas, then filling the pukas. It's almost closing time at the shop, and I better put some paint on this because God knows when the next time I'll be working on it. I didn't have any primer lying around, so this Rust-Oleum will have to do for now. It's better than bare metal. You know, overall, I'm really quite happy with the results, you know, despite having to change my plans several times. What I'm mostly happy about is how I was able to match the original lines on the car. I mean, look at this. And yes, of course, it needs more grinding and eventually Bondo, but it's going to be a great base to work off of. Besides, what do you think the next episode is going to be about? In closing, this tool is freaking awesome. Thanks, Vic.